Welcome to Calm Story Time, where the night is gentle, the silence speaks, and every hallway leads to something you weren't looking for, but needed. Tonight we walk through a dreamy castle, not built of stone and mortar, but of memory, meaning, and possibility. Behind every door is not just a room, but a part of you, a mirror that won't reflect, a clock that ticks inward, and library filled with books yet to be written. These stories are not about magic spells or grand adventures. They are about the quiet kind of magic, the kind that happens when we pause, listen, and let the night lead us gently toward ourselves. So settle in, let your breathing slow, let the castle open. Your journey begins here. The balcony of almost choices. At the far end of the castle's tallest tower, past a stairwell that spirals tighter the higher it climbs, there is a narrow balcony. No one speaks of it, but those who've stood there never forget the view. It's not the stars that draw you, it's the shimmer on the horizon, a flickering veil of movement, as if the sky itself is remembering. Vera reaches the balcony just before midnight. She's restless, not sad, not lost, just curious. The air is still. Below her, nothing. Above, everything. And in the distance, possibilities. They drift like constellations in motion. Scenes shimmer in the dark, barely visible but unmistakably real. One shows her standing at a train station she never went to. Another, a letter she never sent. A face she never kissed. The balcony holds no judgment. It doesn't ask what could have been better, only what might have been different. Vera leans on the railing, not to reach for those lives, but to witness them. And in witnessing, honor them, not with regret, but with gentleness. Some part of her had wanted those roads, and another part, equally strong, chose something else. That, too, is a kind of love. The quiet love of who you are becoming. The castle does not pull her back. The view fades on its own, and when it does, Vera turns to descend. She does not look again. She does not need to. She already carries every choice she never made, not as burden, but as reminder. Some balconies don't offer escape. They offer perspective.
Some stars will show the roads you missed, not to ache but to be kissed. They shine to say you're not alone. Even choices you outgrew are home.
The clock without hands. High in the western tower of the dreamy castle, hidden behind a spiral staircase few dare to climb, sits a clock without hands. It hangs in a room full of quiet ticking, though none of the clocks work. Only this one is alive, Nora finds it on a night when she can't sleep. She isn't looking for anything, but sometimes the castle offers what you didn't know you needed. The room is circular, filled with the scent of dust and time that forgot how to move. In the center, the handless clock pulses faintly with a golden glow. It doesn't tick, it hums. Nora steps closer, expecting a mirror, not a clock. The face is made of dark glass. Nothing moves, no numbers, no hands, just the faintest shimmer, like a breath on a window. Then the hum sharpens and images flicker across the surface, not memories, moments. She sees herself at 10, standing in a field of wet grass, turning in circles with her arms open to the rain. She sees herself at 17, not saying the things she meant to say. She sees herself at 25, walking away when she could have stayed. Each image lingers for just a second, not long enough to ache, but long enough to stir. Nora steps back, startled. The hum softens, the glass dims, and then, in a whisper that feels like it comes from behind her ribs, "This is not time," the voice says. "This is truth. The clock without hands does not measure minutes. It shows only the moment you are most yourself, and it asks nothing. No judgment, no correction, only notice." Nora stands still for a long while, letting the silence unfold. Then she leaves the room, and as she walks down the winding steps, she doesn't look back. She doesn't need to. Some clocks don't tick forward, they tick inward.
No hands to chase, no ticking sound, just moments waiting to be found. Breathing slow, the time is near, when you remember you were clear.
The corridor of quiet questions. There is a corridor in the dreamy castle that isn't always there. It appears only when the castle decides someone is ready, not for answers, but for questions. No signs, no doors, just a hallway wrapped in twilight. Jonah steps into it without meaning to. He's following silence, not curiosity. It feels like walking through memory, but softer. No echoes, no footsteps, just hush. The walls are made of stone, but they whisper, not out loud, not quite. As he walks, the questions begin. They aren't shouted or written. They arrive like gentle nudges in his chest. Why do you always rush through quiet? Whose voice still lives in your choices? What would happen if you stopped trying to earn rest? Jonah stops walking, not because he's afraid, because something in him answers even before his mind can nod aloud. But clearly, he keeps going. More questions surface, ones he hasn't dared form. If you were no one's hero, would you still be worth saving? What did you leave behind that still waits for you to return? The walls do not press him for answers, they only hold space. The corridor is not a test, it is an invitation. At the end of the hallway, there is no grand reward, just a small alcove with a mirror and a chair. The mirror doesn't show his reflection, just a candle already lit. Jonna sits and breathes, and for once, doesn't try to solve the questions, just lets them be. When he leaves the corridor, the hush follows him, not heavy, comforting. Some corridors don't lead out, they lead deeper in.
The walls don't speak, they gently hum with questions whispered one by one. Don't answer now, just let them be and drift into what you might see. Spain, my life, and this dumb side of night must just lend to them white hued and tuned tree might see.
The door that opens only when you're ready. Some say the castle has no end. Others say it ends exactly where you begin. But all agree on one thing. There's a door no one can force. It appears only once, and only at night, not when you're searching, when you've stopped running. Ely finds it on the quietest hour. He isn't looking for anything. He's simply walking with empty hands and a full heart. The hallway narrows, the stone grows warmer, and then the door, wooden, plain, without handle or keep, but pulsing gently like it's breathing. He stops, he looks at it, doesn't reach, doesn't knock, just waits. The air stills. The castle seems to lean in. Then, with no sound at all, the door opens inward. The room inside is not magical. No glowing relics, no treasures. Just a single chair and a notebook, blank except the first page. Write what you've never said aloud. Ely sits, not quickly, not fearfully, just truly. He writes, not with elegance, but with honesty. He doesn't finish the page. He doesn't need to. The door stays open as he leaves. Not because he'll return, because he doesn't have to. Some doors are not meant to be passed through. They are meant to be recognized, not with answers, but with readiness. And when you are, they open softly, finally, once.
simply being and found the peace that comes from seeing.
The garden that opens only at night. No one finds the garden by looking for it. It blooms only in silence, and only after the castle sighs into stillness. When the moon is high and the hallways no longer echo, a section of the outer wall swings open without a sound, and beyond it, the night garden Cam walks through by chance, following a breeze that smells like rain and something sweeter. She doesn't expect it, but the castle, as always, offers what is needed. The garden isn't lit, yet it glows. The flowers shine faintly, not with color, but with memory. They don't bloom for the eye, they bloom for the heart. Cam brushes her fingers over a violet petal and feels a moment, her mother humming while folding blankets. Another flower, white and trembling. A conversation she never finished, but forgave anyway. Each bloom holds something she chose to keep with kindness, not the sharpest memories. The gentlest she walks slowly, letting each step bring a new fragment to the surface. The sound of laughter at a table long gone, a dance barefoot in an empty room, the way someone once looked at her and saw her fully, without asking her to explain. There is no sorrow in the garden, only the soft ache of having lived. Cam sits on a stone bench near the edge. She closes her eyes, lets the scent of blooming memory wrap around her like a shawl. Some gardens are not for planting, they are for remembering, and for reminding you that not everything beautiful must be held on to. Some things only bloom in the dark when you are quiet enough to feel them.
In moonlit bloom, the memories grow, each petal soft, a quiet glow. They do not fade, they gently rest within your heart, the very best. Ooh,
The library without words. Some rooms in the dreamy castle don't announce themselves. They wait. Quiet. The library without words stands behind a door shaped like a sigh. Simple, wooden, always slightly ajar. Inside, endless shelves. But the books have no titles, no ink, no noise Nail steps in, with the instinct of someone looking for something he can't name. He pauses in the doorway, expecting silence, and yet there's music. Not sound exactly, a kind of presence. The books are blank, not dusty, not forgotten, just unwritten. He picks one up at random. The cover is soft, warm to the touch, like someone's palm. When he opens it, there are no words, but something rises in his chest, an image, a moment. A version of himself sitting on a porch that never existed, watching a sunrise with someone he hasn't met. It feels like memory, but softer, like potential. He opens another book and feels the weight of saying no to something once out of fear, but now understanding why it mattered. These aren't stories that happened. They're stories waiting for him to be ready. He moves shelf to shelf, never rushing. Each book reveals a sensation, a truth, a glimpse, not of what he was, but of what still flickers within him. The books don't teach, they remind that he is still becoming, that the chapters aren't fixed, that the unwritten isn't empty, it's alive. Nail places the final book back with a gentle exhale. The library doesn't close behind him, it never does. Some libraries don't hold stories that were, they hold the ones you still have time to live.
No word, no words were read, but still you knew the stories waiting to find you. Blank pages hung beneath your sleep, with dreams you're always free to keep.
The mirror that refused to reflect. In one of the quieter wings of the dreamy castle, where the windows open onto mist and the halls curve like questions, there is a room with a single object, a mirror that shows nothing at all. Not the candlelight, not the furniture, not your face. It simply doesn't reflect. Lena discovers it after following a cat made of smoke and starlight. The cat vanishes beneath the door, and when she steps inside, the air shifts. She feels noticed, not watched, not judged, just noticed. The mirror stands taller than her, framed in carved stone that ripples like water. It leans slightly forward, as if listening, and though it reflects nothing, it feels full. Lena approaches cautiously. No reflection greets her, only space, empty, and yet not. She lifts a hand. Nothing moves in the glass. She frowns. Is something wrong with me? She whispers. A pulse stirs behind the surface, a flicker, not an image, a presence, and then something begins to form. Not her face, but a version of her. Eyes clearer, jaw less clenched, spine straighter, not better, just more hers. Voice comes, not sound but shape, not speech but sensation. This is who you are when no one is looking. Lena takes a breath, her chest loosens, her fists unclench. The mirror begins to shimmer again, returning to stillness. She doesn't need to ask questions. doesn't need to understand. It didn't show her reflection, it showed her essence. Not how others saw her, but how she had forgotten to see herself. Before she leaves, she places her palm on the cool surface. "I'll remember," she says softly. And maybe, just maybe, the mirror nods.
It didn't show the world you see. It showed the quietest form of me. No need for light, no need for glass, just truths that softly came to pass. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na.
The Room of Forgotten Maps. In the heart of the dreamy castle, tucked behind a velvet curtain and a door that didn't exist the day before, lies a room most people never find. The Room of Forgotten Maps. Ezra finds it by accident. Or maybe the room finds him. The moment he steps inside, the air shifts. It smells like old paper and wind from places that haven't had names in centuries. The walls are covered in maps, not flat and ordinary, but alive. They pulse with a quiet glow, like breathing parchment. And none of the places are familiar. A desert shaped like a sleeping fox. An island that seems to weep mist. A forest where the trees grow in spiral patterns, like questions with no answers. Ezra walks the room in slow circles. Some maps are tiny, others stretch from ceiling to floor. Each has a single word written in the corner, in ink that looks like it's always drying, but never dry. Almost. Maybe. Once. He steps closer to a map that shows a city split in two by a river of light. He's never seen it before, and yet his chest tightens like memory stirred. He touches it, and for a moment he's there, standing on a stone bridge under glowing lanterns, hearing someone laugh like they once did beside him. But when he blinks, he's back in the room, his fingers still pressed to the map's edge. A whisper stirs the air, not from the walls, but from within him. You could have gone here. Ezra doesn't feel regret. Not quite. It's more like recognition. He moves to another map, one that looks like a coastline made of question marks. Touches it. Feels something shift in his stomach. Not grief, not longing, possibility. He spends hours there, or maybe minutes. Time doesn't act normally in this room. Each map shows not what was, but what could have been. Not to punish, but to honor. As he leaves, he notices something he didn't see before. A new map, still forming in the corner. It glows faintly. He doesn't touch it, just smiles. And for the first time in a long time, he knows his path doesn't have to match a map to be real. It just has to be walked.
Whispers drift from painted walls, paths we never walked, still call. Close your eyes, the stars will show all the ways you dare to grow.
The room that listens. There's a room in the dreamy castle with no windows, no lamps, and no mirrors. It doesn't glow. It receives. No one talks about it because they don't need to. Everyone who's entered knows its silence. Ruth steps in by instinct, not design. Her thoughts are tangled. She doesn't want advice. She doesn't want fixing. She wants a pause. A space that won't interrupt. The room greets her with stillness. It's neither warm nor cold. It is present. The walls are curved, soft like velvet, and seem to absorb the weight of her breathing. She sits on the floor, crosses her legs, and lets the words come. Not aloud at first, just in her chest, then in whispers. I'm tired of pretending I'm fine. I wish someone had stayed. I don't know who I am without the noise. No echo answers, no voice replies, but something shifts. Not outside her, but inside. It's not comfort, not yet, but it's something close to being heard. She says more, some sentences full, others broken in the middle. Still, the room listens, not as a friend, not as a therapist, as presence. And that is enough. Time moves differently there, not slower, just softer. And when she rises to leave, she doesn't feel fixed. She feels lighter. Some rooms don't need to speak, they just need to stay.
You spoke in silence, held it all. No need to fix, no need to fall. Some rooms don't answer, they remain. A place to pour your quiet pain.
Thank you for walking with us tonight through the quiet halls of the dreamy castle. You didn't just visit rooms, you visited moments, some that remembered you, some that waited to be seen. We wandered through maps of what could have been, heard questions we'd never dared ask, and sat in silence that listened more deeply than words ever could. The castle doesn't vanish when the story ends. It waits, not on a mountaintop, but somewhere within you. A mirror, a garden, a door. You'll know them when you're ready. So rest now, not because the journey is over, but because you've remembered that some of the most magical places live quietly inside. Good night, dreamer. The castle is always here.
Some stars will show the roads you missed, not to ache, but to be kissed. They shine to say you're not alone. Even choices you outgrew are home. No hands to chase, no ticking sound, just moments waiting to be found. Breathe in slow, the time is near. When you remember you were clear. Just moments waiting to be found. Breathe in slow, the time is near. When you remember you were clear. The walls don't speak, they gently hum with questions whispered one by one. Don't answer now, just let them be. And drift into what you might see. A door once closed, now softly wide. Not to escape, but step inside. You opened it by simply being, and found the peace that comes from seeing. still you knew the stories waiting to find you. Blank pages hum beneath your sleep with dreams you're always free to keep. Stirs the ague, and a bright light before your silence. Have your lonesome when you read me forever. No words were read, but still you knew the stories waiting to find you. Blank pages hung beneath your sleep with dreams you're always free to keep. It didn't show the world you see. It showed the quietest form of me. No need for light, no need for glass, just truths that softly came to pass. Whispers drift from painted walls, paths we never walk, still call Your spoken silence held it all. No need to fix, no need to fall. Some rooms don't answer, they remain a place to pour your quiet pain.